Hello and welcome to Byju's Exam Prep. Good evening, all of you. I hope you all are doing well. So, today, welcome to our daily quiz session. Now, before starting our session for today, here is a quick announcement for all of you. If you are preparing for UPSC Civil Services examination and if you want to crack in a first attempt, then we have a one-to-one counseling session. So, if you want to get some guidance related to it, how what books you should read and how you should approach to this exam for your first attempt, then what you can do, you just fill your Google form which is available in our comment section box and pin comment also. So please ensure that your all details have been filled. We will our mentor will definitely call you. So let's start our session for today. Now today the date is 6th of January. So from the newspapers Indian Express and PIB, we have brought some of the most important topics which are relevant for your exam, and we have picked most important questions also. So let's start our discussion for today. Now here you can see the first question on your screen. Now the first question is, consider the following statements. Okay, now what are the statements? First statements: India holds the position of the third largest fish producer globally and the second largest in aquaculture. Second statement: the Sagar Parikrama initiative seeks to address the concerns of fishermen and various stakeholders. Third statement: in the realm of fish production across the country, Maharashtra holds the seventh position, contributing approximately 5% to the overall share. Okay, now how many of the above statements is or are correct? Okay, only one, only two, all three, none. So how many statements are correct? Now here all three statements are correct. It means this is also correct, this is also correct, and third is also correct. Now, what is the context of this question? So today in the PIB, now this news is related to your agricultural and allied activities. Now what is the news here? So here Niti Aayog hosted national workshop on harnessing the potential of fisheries in marine states. Okay, marine states, I hope you know that Gujarat, Maharashtra, all these states are marine states, Tamil Nadu, Kerala. Okay, so Niti Aayog hosted a national workshop on harnessing potential on fisheries in marine states on 5th of January 2024 in collaboration with Government of Kerala and Indian Council of Agricultural Research, Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute also in Kochi, Kerala. Okay, now the event is an initiative under State Support Mission. Okay, please remember that this is a State Support Mission. Okay. Now the one-day workshop has brought together the key stakeholders also from central and state governments. Now this is not only state government initiative, but yeah, from central government also various stakeholders also join their hands. Okay, industry representatives also means fisheries in fishery industry representatives and practitioners. Okay, deliberated upon critical aspects of realizing India's vast marine fisheries promises across the domains of sustainability, market linkages, and addressing ground challenges. So this is all about, this is actually a you can say a workshop which was organized on fisheries. Now let's understand the fisheries sector in India. Okay, so fishery sector in India, where India stands here. So here, as you can see, as I have said in the question, all statements were correct. Now what is the context? What is the context of this fishery sector in India? So let's understand. So India here stands as the third largest global producer of fish here and second largest in aquaculture. So first statement was correct. Okay. Significance of the blue revolution. Now you know that blue revolution was very important here for this fishery sector, and it basically fisheries and also for this aquaculture sector also. Now second statement was related to your Sagar Parikrama initiative. Okay, so this Sagar Parikrama initiative, actually it aims to transform what? Sea journey along the coastal belt, symbolizing solidarity with various stakeholders who are like who are related to this fishery sector. So in celebration of the 75th Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Okay, so 5th of March 2022. Okay, it was the first phase was started from Gujarat, Mandavi, and the Sagar Parikrama journey unfolds under then that time. What was the theme? Kranti se Shanti. Okay, so it was started in 2022 from Gujarat. The first phase of this Sagar Parikrama initiative. Okay. Now Maharashtra. Now, why third statement is correct? So here let's understand the Maharashtra context here. So Maharashtra, which has a 720-kilometer coastline, okay, it ranks 7th nationally, contributing approximately 5% to the country's fish production. Okay, even in Goa also this fish as a diet holds 90%. Okay, that's why this also reflects Goan life and culture also. Okay, with an annual average per capita fish consumption of 15 to 17 kg, the marine fishery sector in Goa provides livelihoods for a significant portion of the population. So in the news, here we have a context of two states here, Maharashtra and Goa. Okay, so Maharashtra is equally important, and Goa is also equally important, because both are what? Coastal states. Okay, so now moving towards next question. Consider the following statements here. Now the first statement is, plasma waves frequently manifest within the Earth's magnetosphere. Okay, unlike Earth, Mars lacks an intrinsic magnetic field. Now which of the above statements is or are correct? Now please read the question carefully. Here I am asking which of the following statements is or are correct. Okay, now here first only, second only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 and 2. So both statements are correct. It means the correct option here is neither 1 and 2, not 2. Okay, so means both statements are correct. So here the correct option is this one. Now what is the context of this question here? Now here today this news is there in your PIB press release, and this question can be related to your science and technology and space technology also. Now what is the news here? So high frequency waves, unlike, see, actually what happens, these plasma waves, please understand, these plasma waves, they are generally like observed near this Earth's magnetic field. Now as I have said, as in the question you have seen that statement 2, unlike Earth, Mars doesn't have its magnetic field. So it means that Mars doesn't also have these plasma waves. But recently, this is what this news brought us attention, brought our attention towards this. Like high frequency waves have been detected in the Martian upper atmosphere, which could help understand plasma process over Mars. Okay, so I hope you have understood the context of this news. It means it is saying that though Mars doesn't have its magnetic field, Earth also have this plasma waves, but unlike Earth, Mars doesn't have these plasma waves. Okay, this is what we can like conceptualize, okay, as per the rules. But recently researchers have observed some high frequency waves, and they are saying that this can be helpful for us to understand this plasma process over Mars. Okay, so this is the context of this news. Now scientists have detected what? Existence of high frequency plasma waves in the Martian upper atmosphere with novel narrowband and broadband features that can help to understand plasma process in the Martian plasma environment. So it means that being a non-magnetic planet, okay, Mars, I'm talking about Mars. So being a non-magnetic planet, it still have this plasma membrane. So this is a recent research here. Now let's understand the more about this news. So plasma waves, as I have said, okay, it frequently manifests within the Earth's magnetosphere. Okay, so that's why first statement was correct. Okay, generally these waves are recognized as brief fluctuations in electric and magnetic field. Okay, so like it fluctuates between these electric and magnetic field, like in Earth's sphere. These plasma waves are very crucial role in both the energization and transportation of charged particles within the Earth magnetosphere. Okay, now the if I talk about specific waves within the plasma waves, then electromagnetic ion cyclotron waves function as a cleaning mechanism for the Earth's radiation belt. Okay, now this radiation belt is a potential threat to our satellites also. Okay, so unlike Earth, Mars lacks an intrinsic magnetic field, as I have said. That's why second statement was also correct. Okay, consequently, the high-speed solar wind from the sun directly interacts with the Martian atmosphere. Now Mars doesn't have its magnetic field. So that's why what happens? This solar wind of the sun directly interacts with what? Martian atmosphere. Okay. Now let's understand about the plasma waves. So plasma waves, which is a category of electromagnetic waves, they travel through what? Plasma. Now I hope you know that plasma is what? Plasma is the fifth state of matter. Okay, fifth state of matter. Okay, over 99% of the observable matter in the universe exists in the form of plasma. Okay, elements such as our sun, solar wind, the interplanetary medium, the near earth region, magnetosphere and the upper layers of our atmosphere all predominantly comprise what? Plasma. So this is very, very important for your exam, because plasma waves recently have been detected around Martian atmosphere. So that's why these plasma waves are very, very important for you. Okay. Now the third question is here on your screen. So consider the following statements regarding the Bhitarkanika National Park. Okay. So it boasts one of India's most significant population of critically endangered gharial crocodiles. Okay. Second statement. Situated along the park's western boundary. Okay. So this Ghari Matha beach, which is situated on the western side of this national park. Now this beach stands as the largest colony of the olive ridley sea turtles. Okay, so now you have to check which of the above statements is or are correct here. So first only, second only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 and 2. So which of the statement is correct? Now it boasts one of India's most significant population of critically endangered gharial crocodiles. No, obviously not. Now see, where is it? First of all, we have to understand this national park location. It is in Odisha. Okay, so in Odisha, do you think that this gharial crocodiles will be available? Because these are what? These are available there where fresh water is there. Now around this ocean, because Odisha is along with this Bay of Bengal, so obviously due to this ocean, due to this it has a salt water. So in this salt water, do you think that this gharial crocodile will be there? Obviously not. So first statement is wrong here. Now second statement, situated along the park's western boundary, it means here. Obviously not. Olive ridley sea turtles will also come here only, eastern side of the park. So that's why this statement is also incorrect here. So that's why which of the above statements is or are correct? D. D is the correct option here. Neither 1 nor 2. Okay. Now, what is the context of this question here? So today there is a press release, and here in that this question can be related to your conservation, GS paper 3. Now what is the context here? So let's understand that. So recently Ministry of Tourism has conducted training in Bhitarkanika National Park, which is again in Odisha, under Amrit Dharohar Capacity Building Scheme. Now for your exam here, what is important for you? First of all, this national park is important for you. Second is the scheme is also important for you. Amrit Dharohar scheme. Okay. Now under this scheme, which ministries are participating here? Ministry of Tourism in collaboration with the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forest and Climate Change. They launched the 4th training program under this Amrit Dharohar Capacity Building Scheme on 5th January around for local community members in this national park. Okay, so basically again I am saying for your exam what is important? This park and this scheme. Okay, so let's understand both of them. Now Bhitarkanika National Park, actually it has a 672 square kilometer, you can say the area it has, and it is in Odisha state. Okay, it stands as the second largest mangrove ecosystem in India. I hope you know that in eastern part of our India, you know that there we have West Bengal also and Odisha also, which are very, very famous for their mangrove ecosystem. Okay, so now due to its proximity to the Bay of Bengal, the soil in the area is what? Enriched with salts. Okay, so that's why the water is also what? Salty one. Okay, so it fosters vegetation and species typically found in tropical and subtropical intertidal regions. Okay, it is a crucial breeding ground for saltwater crocodiles, not gharial crocodiles. So that's why first statement was wrong there. Okay, habitat for 8 varieties of kingfisher birds, a rarity that adds to the park's unique biodiversity. along the eastern boundary of the sanctuary. So now this national park, now here is a national park. So on the eastern side there is a Ghari Matha beach, and here is a Bay of Bengal. Okay, so here we have a olive Ridley sea turtles. Okay, so that's why second statement was also wrong there. Okay, now let's understand the crocodilian species in India. So here we have three species which are found across India. First is your mugger or marsh crocodile. Their status is vulnerable as per the universally accepted status. Now estuarine, or you can say saltwater crocodile, which are found here in this national park. Now they are the earth's largest living crocodile species. Okay, and they are found where? Odisha's Bhitarkanika National Park, the Sundarbans in West Bengal, and the Andaman and Nicobar Island. Now here you can see all of them, all of these regions, this Odisha National Park, this Sundarbans in West Bengal, and this Andaman and Nicobar Islands, they are near what? Salty water regions. Salt water beaches, you can say, or you can say oceans. So that's why these saltwater crocodiles are found where? Eastern side of India. Please remember that. And their status is least concern here. Okay. Now the third one, which is very, very important for us, this is your Gharial crocodile. Okay, they are found where? Fresh water. Okay, either Himalayan rivers or Chambal rivers, and their status is critically endangered. Now, in the news, as I have said, first was our Bhitarkanika National Park and related crocodilian species. Okay, now the second one is Amrit Dharohar scheme, which is also there in the news. Now, what is the nodal ministry here? So, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change here. When it was announced, Union Budget 2023 to 2024, what is the aim of this scheme? To promote unique conservation values of the Ramsar sites in the country while generating employment opportunities and supporting local livelihoods. Okay, what are the components of this scheme? Species and habitat conservation, nature tourism, wetland livelihoods, wetland carbon. Okay, so please remember all these facts related to this scheme. Now the fourth question is here. Now consider the following statements with respect to Prithvi Vigyan initiative here. Okay, first statements. It include exploration of polar and high seas regions of the earth toward discovery of new phenomena and resources. It aims to strengthen the continuous monitoring of the earth atmosphere. It is a comprehensive scheme by the Ministry of Earth Science and spans from 2021 to 26. Okay, so how many of the above statements is or are incorrect here? Only one, only two, all three, or none. Okay, so first statement is correct. It includes exploration of both polar and high seas, and which will help in the discovery of new phenomena and resources. So first statement is right. It aims to strengthen the continuous monitoring of your earth atmosphere. This is also right. It is a comprehensive scheme by Ministry of Earth Science. This is also right, and the duration is also right here. So how many of the above statement is or are incorrect? None. D is the correct option here. Now what is the context of this question? So this question, this topic is there in your Indian Express newspaper for today, and this question can be related to your science and technology and space technology here. Okay, so cabinet clears Prithvi initiative for ease of research in earth science. Okay, so this is the news in today's newspaper. So the government has approved an initiative. Which initiative? Prithvi 1. Okay, that will give it the flexibility to pursue what? Research and use funds allocated to 5 different sub schemes related to earth science. Okay, so this scheme is related to what? Earth science. Okay, now let's understand the context here. So the Indian government has initiated the ambitious Prithvi or Prithvi Vigyan program. This is a comprehensive scheme by the Ministry of Earth Science. Okay, now what is the budget here? 4,797 crore. Okay, and what is the duration? 2021 to 26. Okay, what are the objectives? strengthening continuous monitoring of the Earth's atmosphere, oceans, geosphere, cryosphere, and solid Earth to track and document crucial changes. Okay, creating advanced models to enhance the fostering of weather, oceanic, and climate hazards. Okay, explore the uncharted polar regions and high seas also. Okay, so these are the these are the objectives. Then innovating technologies for the sustainable exploitation of oceanic resources benefiting society. Okay, translating scientific insights into practical services for societal, environmental, and economic advantages. Okay, now here is your here is your next question. This is your PYQ 2023. Now what is the question here? In biodiversity, management committees are key to the realization of the objectives of the Nagoya Protocol. Okay. Second statement. The biodiversity management committees have important functions in determining access and benefit sharing, including the power to levy collection fees on the excess of biological resources within its jurisdiction. Okay, so this is your PYQ from 2023 question paper. Now, which of the above statements given is or are correct here? Okay, first only, second only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 and 2. So here, this is also right and this is also right. So, C is the correct option here, both 1 and 2. Now, let's understand the context here. Now, why statement first is correct here? Please understand. This Nagoya Protocol, it is a legal framework for the implementation of one of the objectives of the Convention on Biological Diversity. Okay, now what is that objective? Fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising out of the utilization of genetic resources. Okay, and the protocol was adopted in 2010 in Nagoya, Japan. Okay, it entered into force in October 2014. That's why first statement was correct there. Okay, in alignment with the Biological Diversity Act here 2002, each local body here in India within the state is mandated to establish a biological management committee in its jurisdiction. Okay. Now, what will be the role of this BMC here? Okay, as per the Act of 2002, to promote conservation, sustainable use, and documentation of biological diversity. Essentially, in India, BMC act as an implementing agency of the objectives outlined in the Nagoya Protocol. So, whatever have been decided in this Nagoya Protocol, here in India, who will be the implementing agency here? Biodiversity Management Committee. Okay, please remember that. And why statement 2 is correct? So, this Biological Diversity Act 2002 empowers BMC with the independent authority to levy collection fees on those gathering biological resources within their territorial jurisdiction. So, why this? Now, BMC will have their own financial resources. Okay, so that's why statement 2 is also correct here. Okay, now fact of the day. So, ISRO test fuel cells potentially power space missions. Okay, so now here what is the news here? So, ISRO has successfully demonstrated a fuel cell, okay, that uses hydrogen and oxygen to generate electricity and releases heat and water as byproducts. So, that's why now this fuel cell is very, very important innovation in the industry of space technology. Why? Because now this fuel cell, okay, by using hydrogen and oxygen, it will produce what? Electricity. Okay, to energize what? Space stations. So that is the that is the significance of this fuel cell. Okay, let's understand more about it. So fuel cells are the power production in space habitats. Okay, power production what? Electricity. Okay, now these hydrogen fuel cells will produce electricity directly from hydrogen and oxygen gases. So now what they will use? Hydrogen and oxygen gases. Okay, along with pure water and heat also. It functions as an electric generator. Basically, in our homes, we have a generator. Now, in space stations, these will be acted as a generator, electric generator, based on electrochemical principles which are very similar to batteries also. So whatever you know that in batteries we have a electrochemical cycle, electrochemical principle. So similarly in these fuel cells the same principle will be applied. Okay, and these electric generator which will be used in your space station, they are different from your electric generators which are used at homes. Okay, so with water as the only byproduct, they are totally emission free. Okay, so please remember that they are not giving you carbon, they are not giving you other gases which are harmful for us. What they are giving? They are giving you water as a byproduct. So it means they are what? Emission free. Okay, these features make them what? Ideal candidates for space missions involving humans where electric power, water and heat are essential. Now please see here. Now these fuel cells are using what? Hydrogen and oxygen gases, and as a byproduct they are giving us what? Water. So it means that they have a twin significance for us in a space station. What? First of all, water they are giving. Second, they are also giving us heat. Third, they are also giving us electricity. That's why they are very important there in space stations for humans. Okay. So fuel cells also possesses significant societal applications also. Appropriate solution to replace the engines of various types vehicles in use today and to power standby power systems also. So basically in space station they can be used as a power standby for power systems. They can provide range and fuel recharge time equaling that of today's conventional engines, okay, which gives them a distinct advantage over batteries and are expected to facilitate emission free transportation also. Ideal power source for space station as it provides both power and pure water. So this is all about for today's discussion. Now again a quick announcement for all of you. So again if you want to crack UPSC Civil Services examination in our first attempt, then please fill a Google form which is available in our description box and a pinned comment section also. Ensure that your all details have been filled. Our mentor will definitely reach out to you. Thank you so much for attending this session. Thank you. Goodbye.